Hi guys, I'm Amanda Bisk and welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk to you about lower back pain. Now I know this is such a common topic. Many of you might be suffering from lower back pain. I suffer from lower back pain from time to time as well, and this is why I wanted to create this video. I'm going to go through one of the main reasons that you're experiencing lower back pain, and of course some nice, quick, simple stretches that you can do every day that is going to help relieve that pain as well. So let's get straight into it. So, what's causing your lower back pain? Now, if you've seen some of my videos before, you know how I talk about the body as a chain reaction. One area of your body affects the area next to it, affects the area next to it, and so on down the chain. So let's think about this when we think about pain. In particular, lower back pain. Usually we think it's that area that's the problem. When it's not, it's something else around the chain. Now, with lower back pain, it's usually our hips. Our hips are actually our center of gravity, and they control a lot of what happens around our body. Now, I want you to take a moment to think about how much sitting you do in a day. Yep, how much do you sit down? Maybe you're sitting while you're working, sitting at school, sitting while you're driving the car, watching TV, eating food. We do a lot of sitting, and this causes so many problems around our hip joints. It causes tightness, imbalances, and immobility, which in turn can cause lower back pain. So I'm going to show you something nice and quickly so you can visualize this. So if we think about our pelvis, usually when we're standing up nice and tall, the pelvis is upright. Now, if we're sitting, so if we come into a sitting position, we get this hip flexion, and this causes our hip flexors at the front of the hips to shorten up. Now, if this happens, our pelvis comes into an anterior tilt. So the top of the pelvis will tip forward. So shorter hip flexors here means our glutes switch off and more pressure comes into the lower back, or our QL muscle, the muscles that run on either side of our lower back. Now, this is a common problem amongst most of us because we do a lot of sitting. So now I want to get into how we can really fix this tightness, this immobility in the hip joint, and how you can get instant relief from lower back pain. So here are my 3 go-to stretches that are instantly going to relieve your lower back pain. Now I'm going to kick it off with a hip flexor stretch because we did just talk about those super tight hip flexors. So what we're going to do with this stretch is come into a kneeling position. So bringing one foot forward and making sure this lunge is nice and long. So making sure you're not too short here. So stepping out nice and big. Now, for this stretch, it's really important that we avoid that anterior tilt that I've just been talking about. So the way we do this is by drawing the belly button in, engaging the core, and lengthening through the lower back. So instantly we're bringing the pelvis into this upright position, and you might already feel a stretch through here. Now, if you want to go a little bit deeper here, you can place your hands on your front knee, squeezing your bottom to push your hips forward. As you do this, remember to continue to lengthen through the lower back so we're not dumping down. All right, if you want to go even deeper again, you can push against your front knee to guide the shoulders back, so you'll find that extra extension through the front of the body. Or you can have fingertips behind the ears, squeezing those elbows back, or arms up above your head. Now remember, anytime we're stretching, you want to hold for 10 nice, long, deep breaths on each side. Moving on to stretch number 2, and this one targets our glutes, outer hip flexors, and our piriformis. Now, most of you will already know our glutes and hip flexors, but what is the piriformis? Now, this is a tiny muscle that runs from the front of our sacrum. So the sacrum is the triangle-shaped bone at the back of our hips, and it runs into our femur. Now, when this is tight, it not only can cause lower back pain, but it can press on the sciatic nerve and cause sciatica. So if any of you or people that you may know have sciatica, this stretch is amazing. So what we're going to do is a ground variation first, and then you can also do it up on a chair if that's an easier position. So the one on the ground, we're going to come into a 90-90 position. So we want the front shin to be parallel in front of you, and the back legs to also be parallel to each other. So we're coming into this 90-90 position. We're going to place one hand on either side of the front leg, and from here, sitting up nice and tall, we're going to press the belly button forward and slowly begin to lean forward. Now, as you do this, you'll start to feel a stretch through the back of your bottom, so your glutes, and you might even feel it in the outer hip flexors, so the first two areas that I was talking about. Now, to get into the piriformis, what we're going to do here is trying to lean forward as much as we can without hunching over. So we want to keep the spine nice and long. You're slowly going to guide your opposite shoulder to knee. So we're going to turn the opposite shoulder to the knee and then slowly bend forward even deeper. So that's going to get nice and deep into that tiny piriformis muscle and release the tension there. All right, so making sure you do both sides, of course, and we'll move on to the chair variation. So if you find it hard to get into this floor position, you can do this on a chair as well. So sitting down on the edge of a chair, we're going to pick one leg up, placing the ankle on the knee. So what we want to make sure is the foot is flexed, toes are pointing forward, so making sure they're not pointing out to the side, and we're sitting up nice and tall here. Now you might already feel this stretch through your glutes and through those outer hip flexors. We can also go a little bit deeper if you can't quite feel it yet. So we want to sit up nice and tall, belly button pressing forward and slowly leaning forward, making sure you're not hunching. So always keeping the chest proud and feeling that nice big stretch through the glutes. Now, if we want to come into more of a piriformis stretch, we're going to guide that opposite shoulder to the knee. So coming into that twist and bringing the belly button towards the thigh. So really trying to twist through the body. You can pull on this front knee, trying to get it closer to the shoulder. And of course, holding for 10 nice, long, deep breaths in each position. Stretch number 3 is all about releasing the QL, or the quadratus lumborum. Now, this is usually where the specific pain point is. So for the other two stretches, we've been talking about releasing tightness and stiffness in the hips. This one is actually in your lower back, so the muscles that run on either side of your spine. I love this stretch, and whenever I do it, I always get instant relief, so I hope you enjoy it as well. For this one, we're going to come into this seated position, so your legs are going to create a V. We're tucking one heel into the groin. Now you want to make sure you can sit up nice and tall here. If you're finding that quite tricky, you can stack some folded towels underneath your bottom, some blocks and pillows, and just elevating the bottom a bit more so you can have your spine up nice and straight. All right, so once you've found your position, you're going to place your hand on the inside of your straight leg and then the opposite hand up to the sky. Now, making sure you're looking up, you might already start to feel a stretch down the side of the body. Now, if you want to go a bit deeper here, we're going to begin to reach the fingertips up and over, bending through the side body, and now feeling that nice big stretch into the side of the lower back. Now, it's really important here that you don't collapse through the chest, so try not to look down. We want to look up to the ceiling and try to push that elbow back behind our head. Now, if you want to go even deeper here, you can come back up to sitting. We're going to place the opposite hand onto the knee, reaching up again with the fingertips and then bending over. So this is going to give you an extra twist and get even deeper into that QL. So there are my top 3 stretches to give you instant relief from lower back pain. Now remember, like with any type of stretching, the more you do, the better you're going to feel. So if you can try and incorporate these stretches in your daily routine, I promise that lower back pain is going to be gone and you're going to be feeling $1 million. Don't miss out on my other lower back pain video. That one in particular is focusing on building up strength and improving the imbalances in your hips to prevent lower back pain. Make sure you check it out. Thank you so much for joining me. If you liked this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up, hit subscribe if you want to see more from me, and I'll see you next time.